Hi everyone, hope everyone is well. I recently picked up a copy of Dog Boats from Compass Games, designed by Joe Carter, and it's arrived. I ordered it from Second Chance Games here in the UK. Excellent service from them as always. And the reason I bought it is for two reasons really. One is that, like a lot of war gamers, I enjoy games where there's something to learn about the subject matter, and I know a bit about sort of torpedo boats or gunboats from World War II, but not a huge amount. And secondly, this is a solitaire game. By all accounts, doesn't take too long to set up and play. And I'm having some work done in the house at the minute, so one of my gaming tables is out of action, as it were. So I want to play something in the evening that I can set up and break down and play pretty quickly, sort of, comfortably within an hour. So this seemed like a really good fit. So I'll tear the shrink off and let's have a look what you get. So on the back of the box here, complexity medium, number of players is 1, although it says here 2 players optional, which is quite interesting. Obviously it's a solitaire game, so suitability for solitaire is high. Average time to play 20 to 60 minutes per mission, 5+ hours per campaign. And then here I can read most patrols can be completed within 20 to 30 minutes, with the occasional 1-hour patrol, which is great. I've got a little bit of colour text here about the dog boat. So if you're not familiar with dog boats, they are naval craft of the Royal Navy, also called gunboats or torpedo boats, and the game is taking part on night missions against the Kriegsmarine forces in the English Channel during 1943 to 1944. English Channel, of course, not too far from where I live. Well, I say that, a couple of hours, I suppose, in the car. Your ultimate goal is to survive for up to 12 months of the war, while at the same time sinking as many Kriegsmarine ships as possible without suffering too many squadron losses yourself. That's what makes me think maybe you're in command of a whole squadron. We'll see. So let's have a look inside the box. So we get a couple of pens. Now I'm pretty sure these are like sort of dry eraser markers. Oh, that's quite interesting. Load of baggies, pack of dice, a range of dice. So everything from a D4 through to D6, D10, D20. They look standard dice. Very nice. Excellent. Then we get our rules of play here. Within a bag. Let's move that out of the way. So it's 3, I'll call them rule books for the sake of simplicity. Rules of play, which we'll have a closer look at. Charts and tables for the MGB. Charts and tables for the MTB as well. So that's obviously on a per craft basis. Then within here, let's get a chunk of these. We've got these are the pads, you can fill them in. These are for the MGB. Look nicely laid out. Nice paper material, looks great. We've got our dog boats 2 to 4 crew status sheets again. Loads of them, which is great. And then our dog boats campaign log. Again, looks very nice laid out. Paper looks good. It's good quality, as you'd expect from Compass Games. Then if I move the box out of the way there, we've got our play sheet for the torpedo boat, the MTB. Again, nicely laid out. Looks very readable. Again, nice thick chunky cardstock. I might play under plexi, as I like to do. And then we've got our gunboat for a different type of boat. The MGB looks very nice again. They look great. Got combat boards. Obviously I need to read the rulebook as to how they work. And then player aids, damage logs, for example, warship status, loads of these. and they look very nice. The counters I'll have a closer look at separately. They've got like a shrink wrap around them, but they immediately look very readable, look nicely cut, look very clean, very usable. Then we've got our Dog Boats Battle of the Narrow Seas. Here's the English Channel. Again, very readable. It's nicely laid out. The card is basically like a mounted war game board. Probably the nearest analogy I can give. Yeah, it looks great. That looks great. And then we've got one here for the North Sea. Again, very nicely laid out. There's Great Yarmouth. This is a place that I have been to many times in my life. As I don't live too far, sort of just up this way sort of thing. This is Norfolk coast here. And I live right next to it. And have many fantastic weekends exploring this coastline. And it's got a lot of interesting World War II history and other periods of history as well. But there we go. This looks really nice, nicely laid out. That looks great. So obviously it would infer that you can choose to play in the North Sea or the English Channel. So they look great. So I think next we'll have a look at the rule books. So here we have our rules of play book. I'm not sure how many pages it is actually. Let me have a quick look at the back here to give us some indication. You can tell a lot from a rule book by the number of pages, I suppose. So 11 pages including design notes. So not too heavy in terms of the complexity or weight. Table of contents, great. Looks very nicely laid out. Compass, I generally find I've been very impressed with the quality of their rule books. The quality of all their components, in fairness, has been excellent. But yeah, this looks nicely laid out. Nice big font, which is great for someone like myself who does require reading glasses when reading rule books and playing war games. So we've got all the different rules. We've got how to report missions. We've got medals, counter guides, etc. Looks nicely detailed. Okay. So here's our optional 2-player rules. So if you, I would imagine you're playing this cooperatively against the game, as it were, which is quite interesting. And then we're into the design notes. So yeah, not a huge number of pages of actual rules itself. So I'm looking forward to getting this to the table pretty quickly. I think I will spend a little bit of time this evening going through the rulebook and reading through it and putting the components out. And it's one of the things I like about these sort of narrative led games. They generally are pretty quick to get to the table, and this one looks to be in keeping with that. So that looks great. And then we've got our this is the 72 MTB charts and tables book. So again, if you're not familiar with these sort of style games, normally you're going through a series of charts, stroke tables, to determine what happens on your, I'm just going to call it mission, as you progress through that. You normally go through them sort of one at a time, and then it will tell you which other chart to go to. The important thing for me with these kind of games is the readability of the charts. And I do like these, the graphic design here. It looks very readable. Again, very detailed, which again is what you want from these style of games, because this will help create the narrative in your mind as you're playing through, as you're imagining what's happening in your game session. They look absolutely fantastic. I'd imagine the other books the same. Riding the waves of the English Channel. Absolutely. Yeah, this looks great. Again, nicely detailed. I'll know more. I have a better understanding when I get the game to the table and I go through a couple of missions. And what I'll probably do on my channel actually is either do an after action report, or as I'm playing through, give a surmise, I think, of how the game is playing out. But this looks great, nicely laid out. I like the photographs included as well. Very thematic. I did see in the rulebook there is a list of reading material for those of us who would like who read a lot and would like to delve more into the historical subject, which is definitely something I'm very interested in. And then we've got the MGP, the same. I'm going to go on a limb and say this looks. I would imagine this is the same format book, but for the different type of boats. And again, this looks really nicely laid out. High quality paper material, nicely printed, nicely finished. Looks absolutely great, as you'd expect from Compass. I think Compass are proving themselves to be in the up there with the best of wargaming publishers in terms of the quality of their components in the game. And this looks absolutely excellent. Looking forward to getting stuck into that. I've got here the counters now, so we'll have a final look at the counters. And again, very nicely done, nice and clear, very readable graphic design, and spacious. So when the cut has come down, everything's cutting out very neatly. So it aids the gameplay and readability of the game. The counters punch out incredibly easy. Put that to one side and put it in one of the bags that you get. And the back of the counters again, very readable. They look great, absolutely great. Then we've got, so here we've got our counters for our boats. So you can obviously have a number of those, which is great. Yeah, looks absolutely fantastic. So overall, this looks great, as I'd expect from Compass Games. As I said, they are proving themselves to be a high quality publisher of war games. I've certainly been impressed with everything that I've seen from them. Everything looks very readable. Quality of the components looks excellent. It definitely, the actual core rules don't look too complicated, just based on the number of pages. I'm going to read through the rule book, have a skim through the charts and table book, pick a boat or mission, and then make a start. And then what I'll probably do, once I've played a couple of missions on my own, I'll probably do an after action report or playthrough or something similar on the channel, so you can get a good feel for how the game plays. Now there are a number of games using this system from this designer. This is, I believe, the third game published by Compass Games. I do have quite high hopes for it, because I know the designer also publishes print and play games, their own print and play games, as well as numerous games from Compass Games as well. But certainly first impressions look incredibly favourable. I am very much looking forward to getting it to the table. And I pretty much, as soon as I've stopped recording this, I'm going to edit the video and then start going through the rulebook. Now, if you have played Dog Boats, if you've played this game, or you've played any other similar games from the same designer, please leave a comment in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thanks a lot for watching, as always. Thank you.